everyone, and welcome to Media Gold, a podcast by the Gold Clover Group. Today, our episode's called Welcome to Clubhouse, and we're not talking about the collection of spices that you find in the grocery store. No, we're talking about the revolutionary app and website. We're going to tell you what Clubhouse is, how to use it, why people use it. Is it going to stick around? Is it just a lame trend that's going to blow away in a few months? Also, I'm going to give you an exclusive opportunity to join Clubhouse, so stick around to the end of the episode to find out more about that. But first, before we get to that, Sarah, did you watch the Harry Meghan interview with Oprah?
I could not bring myself to watch the whole interview.
Right.
Simply because I'm just tired of royal gossip, and 2020 has been enough without having to listen to this now. But I do, I've obviously seen news clips. I do feel really bad for what Harry and Meghan have had to go through, particularly from the race aspect. Like, they should not be in this day and age subjected to questions of race or the color of their child. Like, that was really surprising.
Bizarre, shocking, disturbing.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm one of those people who looks at it like there was no question what this family was like. It's an institution that survives on old colonial ideas. I mean, it was, this is what the royal family is. It's an old institution, and I'm not saying it should go away because it obviously makes Britain a lot of money, but everybody knew you don't marry into that family without knowing what's involved, and it's a business of the time. So I just, like I said, I just feel bad that she didn't understand what she was getting into, but I give them big props for being strong enough to walk away.
I mean, not everybody can afford to just, get an interview with Oprah. Obviously, if you
Mm-hmm.
get her on your side, it really helps your PR cause. But
For sure.
yeah. But, let's get back to Clubhouse here. And
Whole
okay, so
other
what is
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse?
Mm-hmm.
It's an app and offers you the ability to connect and engage with people all over the world. It could be inside or outside or industry and niche, but more of the focus on connecting with people all over the world. And it's kind of like listening into somebody's phone call, but they want you to, right? And you can have thousands of people listening to one phone call, and there's somebody who's a moderator and can decide who is talking in their certain room. And you might have heard of it in the news recently because somebody like Elon Musk pops up into a room, and all of a sudden the moderator decides to give the floor over to him, and he's talking. Bill Gates has used it. So people are talking about it being this platform where you can share amazing ideas, right?
Right. Like, I see it as sort of a blend of like a TED Talk on your phone and LinkedIn come to life.
Right.
Because the same conversations that people have during a TED Talk, or the information that they're sharing on LinkedIn, is very much what you're going to see on Clubhouse, but much more animated, and obviously a dialogue where you can be a part of that conversation.
Absolutely. And, just to gauge how things have taken off, this thing launched kind of quietly at the early onset of the pandemic, about February, March last year.
I'd
And
actually forgot about it. Like, I signed up for it when
yeah,
it first came out. I signed up to get that invitation. So
Sarah's
you
always on
don't.
the cutting edge.
Exactly. Like, well, I'm always willing to download an app just to see what it's all about. So I did.
Right.
I signed up to be able to use it, and then, waited for that text and waited and waited and waited. And, I finally got it a little while ago, but I'd almost forgotten about it because of the way they rolled it out.
And, oh yeah, so it is invite only, iPhone only. I'm only in it because Sarah invited me. So thank you.
And I'm only in it because even though I signed up for it, someone else let me in. So.
And the hype around this thing is growing. Just after a couple months, had a valuation of 100 million, and then just last month, they're saying it's worth over $1 billion. So this has kind of that exponential, like TikTok growth vibe to it, right?
It creates that really instantaneous gratification that TikTok creates, where you can just join in. You don't have to wait around or set a certain time. If you see a conversation that you're interested in, then by all means join in.
But you're saying it's you're saying there's some early downsides. You're seeing that it's a bit clicky, right?
Yeah, like I mean, the fact that we all had to wait around for like a special invitation was a little, kind of gave me the icks, as I use that term icks. Um,
Yeah, no, I like it.
like they've released, and I know like sometimes these kinds of things can only onboard so many people at a time because you might actually crash the app. But even once you get inside, you're given two invitations, to invite two other people. And
Hmm.
then if you join a group, you're allowed to, which special people, and it's essentially how they're wording it, what people deserve to be in this group. And it just kind of rubs me the wrong way that it's creating, these cliques, this social standing. And I in my mind, new digital media is about eliminating all that old capitalist ideals, and an old approach to having a hierarchy. And the app is already creating one, and it's only been out there for a little while. So I can see some people seeing it as somewhat exclusionary, or you're going to have to be forced to create your own rooms to be heard. So
Right. I mean, but that
mm,
happened like in the early days of Facebook, right? You couldn't get in unless you went to Harvard, and then you couldn't get in unless you
yeah,
went to college in certain states.
making people want to be a part of it, making people want to join, which I mean, that's a total Apple move, right? They,
Hmm.
they
Yeah.
they're dropping something and you've got to have it. And that's what these guys have done. So I mean, it's brilliant on them, but I think some people will get tired after a while of feeling like they don't belong, or they have to have like a special invitation to get in. It's just, for me, that was like a definite negative.
Well, let's get back to the positives about this. We were talking about how, the typical social media algorithms that, Facebook or YouTube or Twitter use to help people, it just creates this echo chamber where you're just constantly hearing only the same opinions of all the people that have the same opinions as you, and you're never really learning anything new or challenging your brain to think in a new way. And in the early stages, anyways, of Clubhouse, you are able to pretty easily expose yourself to how other people are talking. Before we started recording, you said you described it. It's kind of like a TED talk.
Yeah, like I mean, it's a great platform to share ideas, and I almost wish it had a video component, and no doubt that will be there eventually. Um, but like today at work, I turned it on, just like you would with a podcast, and
Hmm.
found a room that seemed interesting to me, or a subject that they were talking about. I just hit play, and I could do my work and listen, and the conversation level and content was very interesting. And the people that were talking knew what they were talking about. But in the same vein, I think, and this is maybe why they're holding off, getting back to the original point of holding off on letting everybody in, is because you're giving people a platform where you can just create a room and people can join and they can listen to you. So we've seen in the last year what giving anybody a platform can do, from a negative standpoint. So, as much as it's an interesting way to learn new things and connect and talk, I can definitely see some downsides in the future if it's not controlled in a certain way.
I also was reading there could be like a technical aspect to the invite only. The same reason why it's only available on iPhone, because they're like, oh, the bulk of people in the world who use phones actually somehow still only use Android. So like, oh, if we let all the Android people in, it's just going to overload our servers and explode it. So I guess before they really know what this is, they have to let it grow slower so they can grow with the audience base.
And again, I mean, again, it's creating that level of being exclusive, and only people can join.
Hmm.
But at the same time, again, I think this is like a different way of beta testing something, where we are the guinea pigs,
Yeah.
and they're just gonna kind of let it develop and see what works and what doesn't.
and some other people are, they're trying to be, they're jumping on this bandwagon too. Twitter has something called Spaces. There's other things like Discord. Apparently, like Mark Cuban invested in this thing. I think it's called Fireside or something. So
Hmm.
everybody's trying to come up with their own version, trying to jump on the next big thing. Just like there was plenty of TikTok imitators in the early days.
Hmm.
Ultimately, we all know TikTok emerged the winner. But nobody really knows how to make money from it yet, and you can definitely expect they will within months, and then things are really going to change.
And it's really hard to like. I can understand why there's so many of them, because it's really hard to create a platform that works for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody, and there's so many people out there who consider themselves an expert. We've talked about this in previous podcasts about people who label themselves experts in this and experts in that, and you got to be careful whose advice you follow, and you know who you hitch your wagon to, as they used to say. So, like this is again another platform where people can share information, and it might work for some and not for others, but it is getting a little tiring having to keep chasing the next social media platform, the next, digital space. I mean, it's
Yeah,
it's getting a bit much now.
especially for people who work in digital marketing. Like, take it easy on us. Like,
Yes,
slow down
we
the
can
world a
only
bit, okay?
our iPhones only have so much space.
But ultimately, great space to connect with your colleagues, mentors, contemporaries, people you admire. We say, like, why wouldn't you just listen for free
Hmm.
to what Bill Gates or Elon Musk, regardless if you disagree with their politics or their slime bagginess, what they have to say
Well, and it's a
about
great way
different
to hear
things?
some new voices too, because
Mhm.
guys like Elon Musk and Bill Gates, and as bright and successful as they are, definitely have a huge control over the message, and get a lot of attention, deserved and not deserved. And places like Clubhouse and others are creating a new space where people who don't necessarily have a huge audience or are super super famous or multi-billionaires can share their ideas too.
Right. And like we said, like it's not just listening to people, like just dropping in. Like you have an opportunity to ask questions to these people as well. There's like a raise hand function, and you might not get picked because it's up to the moderator to decide to give you the floor to ask the question. But there's always that possibility.
And the nice
So
thing too is, I mean, they can gauge how well their room is doing because you can leave. Unlike a business meeting, or a phone call with other network colleagues. If you leave, they're going to notice. In this case, I mean, you can wave goodbye, but if you're done or you don't care, you can just go, and they will see their numbers go up and down. So they have to curate their content to suit their listeners and give them what they want.
now, if we've hyped up Clubhouse enough for you, here's what I'm going to do for everybody listening. A little reward if you happen to listen to this episode at the very end, because I just joined Clubhouse thanks to Sarah. I now have 2 people I can invite. Is that correct?
Yep, yep.
Okay, so if you want to be on Clubhouse, I am going to give away one of my invites. All you have to do is you have to send me an email, David at goldclovergroup.com. David at goldclovergroup.com. Tell me why you deserve to be in the Clubhouse, and I will give you one of my invites. How about that?
That is awesome. I think people will love that.
Okay, so that's it for us today. We hope you guys learned a lot. If you ever have any questions that you want us to answer on this podcast, or somebody, or you are somebody interesting that we should talk to, get in touch with us. Goldclovergroup.com and all the social media channels at Gold Clover Group.
And don't forget to listen to us every Wednesday wherever you listen to your podcasts.